everyone. Happy New Year. Can you believe it's 2024? It's time for another episode of Rebecca, and we're so excited to kick off this year. We got lots of fun things in store for you. But first, by way of introduction, in case you don't know, I'm Rebecca Yager, coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area. And my partner over there is Rebecca Reed. Happy New Year, Rebecca.
Happy New Year and welcome to Indiana via the screen.
Chilly Indiana this time of year, right?
Yes, it's yeah. Although we just got snow. I mean, we went through all Christmas with like a dusting of snow, and then we finally got a little bit of snow, and then it got warmer again. But we're supposed to get more, so we'll see.
Yeah, we got cold weather coming our way too. So, not compared to your cold weather, I know.
I know it's supposed to be a high of -1 this weekend.
Okay, well, we're getting down into lows into the teens, which is pretty cold for,
Yeah, that's
Dallas.
cold.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's colder
anyway,
than it is here right now because it's like the mid to low 30s here right now. So
oh, well, we're a little warmer today, but the front comes in day after tomorrow. Anyway,
yeah,
I guess we should get down to business. People don't want to hear us talk about the weather. They want to talk about books. And the first
books.
book we are talking about this month is a brand new release. It just released earlier in January, January 2nd, and this will probably come out backwards, but Fragile Designs by Colleen Coble is the first book we are going to review, and we are going to talk to Colleen in a couple of weeks, and super excited about that. But we can talk Fragile Designs, book number one of 2024. So let's hear about it, Rebecca.
Okay, I have the back cover here. So it says there's only one thing more dangerous than family secrets. Since her police officer husband Eric's mysterious murder, Carly Harris has been struggling to support herself and their infant son. Her career as an antique dealer isn't sustainable, nor is her dream of becoming a novelist. So when her grandmother proposes, she and her two sisters restore the family's large Beaufort home and turn it into a bed and breakfast. She immediately gets to work clearing out the house. In the process, she uncovers a family secret that Eric kept hidden, and an heirloom that the wrong person wouldn't hesitate to kill for. Homicide detective Lucas Bennett isn't his neighbor's biggest fan, not since she broke his brother's heart years ago. But when Carly turns to Lucas for help, believing she's found a lost Fabergé egg that would be worth millions and that could put her family's lives in danger, he can't help but get involved. Soon, they're entangled in a mystery with threads that lead all the way to the Russian mafia. Lucas has gotten in deep, and while he trusts his ability to keep Carly and her family safe, he begins to realize he's vulnerable to an unexpected kind of danger, and he's helpless to stop the free fall. As they continue working closely together, Carly and Lucas realize they may have found something more precious than gold. Yet it's only a matter of time before Carly, or worse, someone she hurts, love someone she that was crazy, someone she loves, gets hurt. Sorry, I should probably read more.
Wait, aren't you a school teacher?
Yeah,
Aren't you a
well, I read
writer?
in Spanish most of the time.
We were discussing earlier that it feels like it's not Monday today, but it feels like Monday. We're kind of slogging into this day here. But anyway, um, well, I'm going to start off because something in the description um, has caught my attention, and it's the different threads of things. And there's lots of threads and lots of tangents. And we were discussing Colleen is famous for writing her romantic suspenses. And you and I both kind of agree there's a lot more mystery, a lot more suspense than there is romance, although the romance is there for you fans. We're not saying that. But it was really prevalent, I think, the mystery of everything. There's lots of different threads and lots of different ways
Mhm.
she could have gone. And hello, Ziva, the dog. So,
Yeah, she wandered in, so
yeah,
yeah.
Ziva's part of the gang. So aren't you, Ziva?
Well, are you listening? Huh?
Yeah. So your thoughts on
Yes,
the mystery?
I agree. I noticed that when I was reading, I was like, man, I mean, this is, it's very much more mystery than what I recall from reading other books that Colleen's written, although I think she likes mysteries. I mean, there's been a few and some other things that I've read of hers as well, but this one is like a very entangled, intricately woven mystery, and it has a lot of kind of um, different bearing on different pieces of the story, because there's a mystery surrounding the antique egg that she finds. First of all, is it really what she thinks it is or not? There's a whole thread going on around that. What's she going to do with it if it is? What, how can they keep it safe, and all of those things. Plus it brings up, will they find some things in their investigation that bring into question her family itself, and like the lineage that she
Mm,
has, her grandmother's actual um her ancestry, and how all that works, and there's a huge like part of it where they're actually searching for her grandmother's family
right.
in this as well. And so there's a lot of just really, I think the whole thing has like spider webs of threads going out to different and various things. There's so many different people that come into it as suspects, and come in the investigation side, and come in as family members. There's a huge like family piece to it. Plus then the mystery of her husband's death, and was it connected or wasn't it, and what was going on there. And then there's like babies galore everywhere, and like
Don't give away any spoilers here.
there's a lot.
No spoilers.
Twins or near twins, things like that. So all kinds of stuff to if you like those types of tropes, she thrust a little bit of everything in there for you.
It is. It's very intricately woven mystery, yet it all does kind of culminate into a single thing, but you got to traverse the spider web of things. There are a lot of characters, a lot of folks to kind of keep up with, but I think Colleen spells them out really well. So you can try to keep up, but family is big and it keeps getting bigger. So, got to keep
Yeah,
up.
you almost need to take notes on this one, because like the characters, there are a lot. And I am not dissing the fact that, to have a lot of characters. I like characters in my books. I have a lot of characters in my own stories too. Siva, goodness, calm down.
All right, Ziva.
Um, no, 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 no.
She wants in
Um,
on it today.
so, it's not that the amount of characters that bothers me so much as it's a little bit tricky at first keeping track of some of them, but then I don't know that it's all that vital that you do at the beginning either. We both kind of talked about this too, where you can kind of lump a few of them kind of together and be like, okay, these people over here, these people over here. And it's not all that important that you remember exactly who is who by name specifically,
Yeah.
um, in certain parts. So
Again, it doesn't take away, detract from the mystery or what they're doing with the two main characters of Carly and Lucas, and then all the people surrounding them. But I did like what Colleen did, and this one might be more for writers, this comment. You could see the motivations of the characters. As many of there were, they all had motivations for how they acted, what they went after, their behavior. And so I thought for a writer, she really did. It was more than just the main characters and even a couple of the subplot characters.
yes. um it and like it's just exactly what you said. It is a convoluted story that all comes together in the end, but you have all of these little paths you have to travel that are very circuitous and twisty.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she did a really good job. There's like three, four different suspects, maybe even five in there for different things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes you're kind of like, oh, I forgot about them. And I definitely, and what we both said, we both suspected a certain person who, to me, was very suspicious and didn't actually turn out to be
Yeah.
a bad guy. So she does a good job of putting clues in there that are somewhat red herrings,
Yes.
but I think that's the fun of it, right? We're
Yeah.
always trying to second guess the author and figure out, like, okay, who's really the bad guy and who isn't, and, it turns out, I think the revelations at the end all do make they made for a really interesting, and I wasn't upset about the way it turned out, I mean, sometimes you're like, you really are rooting for a certain person to be the bad guy or whatever. I didn't really think that the way it ended up bothered me. It was it was a satisfactory ending, and the whole family thing coming together at the end really was good too, and made it, um, have even more, like, emotional impact.
Mhm. Yeah, I kind of closed the book with a heavy sigh of satisfaction that she really took all these intertwining threads and brought them together, and then very satisfied ending with the families and with a nice ended on a very nice note. Um, so it was good. But yeah, the paths to get there are quite twisty for sure.
Mhm.
So, another thing we talked about with the Fabergé eggs is how Colleen wove the history of the eggs into the story.
Yes, I appreciated that especially. I really liked, the little historical tidbits that she did put in there. I don't think it's overwhelming, and if you don't, like, if you're not a fan of history, it's not gonna bog you down in
Mhm.
any way, but if you are, I think you'll really appreciate how she discusses the history of the egg and how it was where it came from, and, like, how it could have, um, gotten to where it was and all of that. It was very interesting, and it really fits in with the whole story too, because of course, if you don't know anything about Fabergé eggs, they're from Russia, and so a lot of the suspects also come from Russia. And so there's a whole, like, Russian connection,
The
in
Russian
many different
mafia.
ways. The mafia, there's a collector that we don't know if he's up and up or anything. We don't know anything about him really, except that he's after it. And the whole, family-ish thing too through the grandmother, there's a Russian connection there, and so it's
Yep.
quite interesting, um, and then there's another guy that's Russian too that was working for Lucas's brother, and that he gets mixed up in
Oh
things,
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on with him, is he evil, is he not?
Yeah.
What's his why is he here at all? And so and then there's a bunch of people who meet their end in the story too, so if you're a fan of, like, that, you can have some of that too. Well, some people read, this kinda thing, like, just count how many bodies there are, I don't know.
Okay. No, it said it was a mystery. It was a police procedural. You know, the suspense of it too, and then the history and going back to the history of the Fabergé egg, I think you alluded to this. The way she weaves it in is integral to the story because you have to understand the importance of the Fabergé egg if you didn't know it. So it's interesting, you learn something, but it doesn't detract from, oh, here's this whole section on history that's taking away from, hey, I want to get to the action of the next
No.
scene. So I think she does the weaving, the spider webbing. I mean, maybe that's our theme for this this book because it's woven together, but it's a lot
Well,
of
I think
threads.
I don't know if I read or saw her talking about this somewhere else, and she said she's been thinking about this story for, like, a long time.
25 years something
Something
plus.
like that, yeah, so, like, anytime you have a story percolating in your head that long, I mean, that's why it's in my opinion. I mean, we'll find out because we're definitely going to ask her when we interview her, right? How did you come up with all of these paths? Because to me, that's the sign of, good storytelling when you can weave all these different possibilities in and still make it come out and be satisfying and makes and be acceptable because we've all read books where it's like that ending does not go with what
Mm,
clues were given. This is not one of those stories.
yes.
You
No.
won't be misled and then feel like something just stepped in that you've never seen before and to solve the problem. That's not going to happen
Oh
here.
gosh, no. There's no out of the blue kind of
No.
ending. It really does come from everything that's led up into the story so far. Yeah, and that is nice because we've all read those books where just, oh, the last minute whatever that hasn't been part of the story at all comes in and saves
Mhm.
the day. And this is not the case here. So I'm a big fan of Colleen's. I've read a lot of her books. This one I think was the most intriguing and mysterious in that way. So really, really enjoyable. There is the romance. Again, we do want to say that, but to me it wasn't the
Yeah.
highlight of the book at all. I was too busy trying to figure out who's who, and again the red herrings, as we've talked about, and especially the one
It
character
is.
you and I both glommed on that said this guy's going to be a bad guy, and he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad he wasn't,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
really thought he was gonna be. And yeah, I think, they were so busy with all the things going on, they really
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a lot of time for romance. But it is interesting because I the house shift
Mm-hmm.
part, I don't know how much I wanna say because it's not like it's really a spoiler
No,
necessarily,
yeah,
but
house shift
it's
is.
just the house shift. If you read the book, you'll understand what I'm talking about as soon as you get into it. Because but the house shift thing was just I found that so intriguing. I thought that was really fun. It was a fun part of the story.
It's like one
Um,
big slumber party. And I think we can say safely there was a house shift because the main house is being remodeled for B&B. So there's construction going on.
right.
So there is a shift of location to this. And again, it
Yeah.
turns into like a big slumber party.
Yeah, because more and more and more people, like, move in, basically, and it's like, "Okay, we're gonna start out with, these 3 or 4 people, and then, oh, let's add 3 or 4 more people. Oh, let's add 2 or 3 more people," and it just kind of like, builds, and it was
And the
I
owners of
thought
the
that was
house don't know what hit them when all this starts to happen. They were just doing a nice favor. And all of a sudden, as you said, more and more are coming.
snowball.
And they're like, wait, how did this happen?
Yeah, so, yeah, it was fun. I liked that part. I thought that was fun.
So,
And the kids, because there's 2 young, like, infant kids in this story too, and they add a lot to the story as well because, um, I mean, we start out with these 2 bachelor men, and one of they don't really know much about kids or think they
mhm,
even like them, and, just watching you've watched people who have never handled children before and how funny that
mhm.
is when they're holding the kid out
Yeah.
here like this and I know what to do
What do
with
I
it,
do with this?
Yeah, and how that all evolves is really a fun part of this story
It
too.
is. It is. And the baby, in fact, the baby Noah, Carly's baby, is almost like a character unto himself, but you can do that with kids because he brings out more into the adult characters when as you see them interact with the baby, with
Mhm.
Noah especially. Just very, very sweet.
Yeah, the children add not only do they add conflict, but they also add tension, and they bring out other emotions that I think because some of these characters are very, withdrawn characters, she used the children to, like, bring out emotions that you wouldn't have gotten,
Mm-hmm.
um, from them
Mm-hmm.
any other way because
Mm-hmm.
they're just not demonstrative people, and
Mm-hmm.
so it would have taken a lot longer to get to know Lucas especially, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
if we hadn't had Noah in the
Mm-hmm.
picture.
Right. right. And even well, this isn't a spoiler. Carly's half sister shows up, and
Yeah,
she's a
Isabel.
teenager, and
Yeah.
her to bring her out more came through baby Noah and stuff. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess here we are talking about fun and this deep, mysterious, all these spider web threads, and there's this element of lightness that I don't know, gives you breathing room as you're going through the mystery and trying to figure things out.
Right. Yes.
So
And for the longest time, I didn't understand exactly how the title fit the book until about, 3/4 of the way through maybe or so, and then it was like, "Oh, oh, oh." So, if you're one of those kind of people who like the title to really match the story, you'll like this one because it really does, and it comes about in a, kind of a revelation of truth moment, which I thought was really, really poignant, and sweet how it happened, so, uh
right. Revelation of truth. Well said. That's kind of what this book does. It keeps unraveling until it gets at, you know, the truth of all
Mhm.
these threads that Colleen is weaving through the story. So yeah, it is a book about the revelation of truth. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Recommend it to others to read, especially if they're romantic suspense fans.
Mhm. And there's nothing in it, that is, like a younger person could read it too. I
Mhm.
mean, there's nothing in it, no language that you would have to watch out for,
Sure.
no, nothing. I mean, yes, there are a few bodies, but it's not like anything graphic or anything. I
Right.
mean, it's
She doesn't describe detail by detail the gunshot wound or a knife wound or anything,
no.
there's the graphic is not there and it's not needed. And that's always been my kind of argument with you can write these wonderfully intense, even and mysterious and fun books, and you don't need all the graphic images in your face. So I think
Right.
that's well done. I definitely recommend it. Well, if you're a fan of Colleen Coble, I'm sure you're going to pick it up. But for anyone who hasn't read Colleen before, this might be an interesting book to start with its threads and how complicated the plot is and its red herrings. And you're going to want to dive in and see what you can figure out. So
Yeah, and it's a standalone, so you're not
yes.
committed to a series either, but if you like it, there's lots of other books that you could then go to see, more of Colleen's work.
Right. Right. Well, we are, so yeah, read it. Let's just put it out there. Read it. It's worth the read. It'll make your mind think. So this isn't necessarily going to be a light, fluffy read. You do have to think through it, but I kind of like that. You got to think
Mhm.
once in a while. And
Yes, you'll be engaged in it,
yeah,
and if you'd like to listen to audiobooks, I felt like the, narrator, her name is Karen Peaks, I thought she did an admirable job. There are several accents in this story, and she does a really good job of differentiating those because there's, like, a Russian accent, there's the Southern some people have a really strong Southern accent, others not quite so much because isn't it South Carolina where
I think
this
it's
takes
South Carolina.
place?
It's one of the
I think
Carolinas,
so.
so it's in the South.
Yes, it's so and I thought she did a good job of that, and so I would recommend the audiobook as well.
No, this is one of the times because usually I read on my Kindle because I like having 100 books with me at all times and stuff. But as you saw me holding up, I actually got the print copy of the book and just to keep in my collection. So either way you want to read, yeah, it's great. It's recommended, and we're super
It's a
excited.
pretty cover too.
It is a pretty cover. So HarperCollins did a good job with that. And that's HarperCollins is Colleen's longtime publisher too. So we're going to talk to Colleen in a couple of weeks, and she's going to be fun. She's been
Mhm.
writing for a lot of years. She's written a lot of books, a wealth of experience.
And she's from Indiana.
And
Yep.
she's a lot of fun. Spoiler alert, I've known Colleen for a lot of years, on the working side of things, and she really is just a fun personality, and I think we're going to have a great time. So come back towards the end of the month. Let me gotta get the date for you. Are we doing it on the
31st.
31st?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah, the
see.
review should it come out on the 17th, which is
Right now,
and now, and yeah, sorry. And the 31st for
the
for the
31st
interview.
will be
So,
the review. So end your January. This gives you plenty of time to, read the book. Coming out, and we're talking to her right away. And then in February, we are going to talk and with Rachel D. Russell with her book, It's Your Love. So a change of
mhm,
pace there
yes. Yeah.
with
This
Rachel.
one, if you're a horse fan, this one is one you don't want to miss because it has lots of horse stuff in it. So
Which
I'm
makes
excited.
Rebecca very happy when there's horse
Yeah,
stuff in there. But yeah,
it
It's
made
Your
me
Love
very happy.
is really good. And then Emily Hendricks Haney will join us in March. We've got a lot coming up. I could go through most of our year, but we'll keep it simple for now.
Yeah,
We're do our genres. But anyway, on the 31st, come back and visit with us as we speak with Colleen, and come back next month for It's Your Love, a romance book with Rachel D. Russell. But meanwhile, pick up Fragile Designs. I think it's worth the read. So,
I do too.
okay, great. Well, thank you. We will see y'all in a couple of weeks when we speak with Colleen. So take care.
Bye.